This video covers the workload of a standard GSM course so that you can think about how much work you can expect to do, but also how to plan your work so that you can succeed in this course. There are a few terms that will be used in this presentation that will be helpful for you to know at the beginning. One is the term Carnegie units, and the other is the term credit hour. Now, these are essentially synonymous. These are terms that are used by the U.S. Department of Education and the Carnegie Foundation when running formulas to help figure out the academic rigor of a course to make sure that a course can be accredited and that it ends up resulting in college credit for the student. That's why this conversation is important, not just so that you know how much work you will do, but so that you understand the fact that this directly relates to the course being accredited and it going on your transcript and bearing credit for you toward the completion of whatever program you're working toward. So, to start with, the first formula we will look at is thinking about one credit hour, one college credit hour for a course. It is assumed that for one credit hour, that a student will have 1 hour per week of classroom instruction contact. And then with that 1 hour of classroom instruction contact, let's say lecture, then you would have 2 hours of work outside of the classroom for a combined 3 work hours per week per credit hour. So, in a typical residential setting, this would be 1 hour of lecture and then 2 hours of outside of class work before you come to the next lecture. If you've ever heard the rule of thumb, 1 hour of lecture equals 2 hours of work outside of class, this is where that comes from. Now we take this formula and we multiply it over the 15 weeks of a standard residential college semester, and you end up with 45 combined work hours per semester per credit hour, just one credit hour. Now, most college classes are not one credit hour. They bear more than just one credit hour. They usually bear 3 credit hours. All GSM courses are 3 credit hour courses. So you then take your 45 combined work hours per semester per credit hour, multiply it times 3 because it's a 3 hour course. Now you can expect over the semester, over the entirety of that course, to put in 135 combined work hours for that course. And that's a combination. About a third of that will be listening to lectures, and then 2/3 of that would be your own work, reading, writing, etc., outside of lectures. Now, the GSM courses don't follow a 15-week standard residential course calendar. They are intensive. They are condensed into 7 weeks. So, what does that look like for us when you're taking a 7 week course? Well, you still have 135 total combined hours per semester of work between lectures and assignments and readings and things of that nature that have to come together to make up the right workload for the course so that it can be accredited. So, if we take this 45 hours of weekly, let's say, lectures, classroom contact stuff, instruction, you take those 45 hours and then you break them out, you divide them by 7 weeks in our intensive format. Now you're looking at not 3 hours of lecture per week, but about 6.5 hours of lecture every week if you follow the same division of lectures and classwork that a standard class would do. Now, let's say if we were following that same 1/3 lecture, 2/3 out of class work division, and you multiplied those 90 hours of out of class work by 7 weeks, now you're looking at about 13, just shy of 13 hours of out of class work every week to reach that 135 total combined hours per semester. So, on a weekly basis, if we follow the same ratio of lectures and out of class work, um, over the course of 7 weeks, you would expect each week of a GSM course to have about 6.5 hours of lecture or some sort of content like lecture, and then just shy of 13 hours of out of class work. But do not despair. That sounds like so much, and it is a lot. But don't despair. There is some flexibility in these hybrid courses, like the ones that we provide through our GSM curriculum. You don't have to do a third of your content in lecture format. It can be done in other ways. Some courses you may have more reading and less lecture. Some courses you may have more cohort meetings or more lectures and less reading. So the ratio will change from course to course. And in a hybrid model, there's an expectation that it will be a little different than a residential course. But at the end of the day, all of the work that goes into your GSM course does have to come up to 135 total combined hours of content and work over the course of the 7 weeks. So it will be a good bit of work. Here are some words of encouragement for you as you wrestle with the reality that this is a normal 15-week, 135-hour semester course condensed into 7 weeks. Here are some words of encouragement. Number one, we want you to succeed. We're here to help you succeed, and we are thinking through the way that we build courses to help make sure that you get the good stuff, but you're not overloaded to a point where you can't complete the course successfully. Also, know that you are not alone. Multiple levels of support have been built into the GSM structure to help you make it through the courses and get where you want to go at the end of this season of study that you're in. Also know it is hard for everybody. Okay. Some people are able to read faster. Some people are able to handle the pressure of academics differently than others. But it's whether you're a fish in water in academics or whether academics are a struggle for you, this is hard for everybody. Doing a 7 week intensive course is going to be difficult for everybody. So, in moments when you feel like, man, what am I doing? Can I make it to the end? Just know that it's not just you. And that if you'll reach out to your cohort mates, to your cohort facilitator, to your instructor, to me, to other people in GSM, to your mentor, to the pastor of your host congregation, we want to support you and help you make it through. Okay. So just know we tell our kids and my family when things get difficult, remember you're not special. It's difficult for everybody. So we want to help you get through and you're not alone. Also, please remember that this is a 2 year curriculum. The work won't last forever. 2 years goes by in a heartbeat, but the results of the work that you're putting in now will. The work that you're doing in your GSM courses is not just ticking a box to be able to finish a course or finish some course of study. What you're doing has really important local implications, and those local implications translate to eternal implications. What you're doing matters for the world, it matters for the body of Christ. And so, if you'll lean into your studies now, knowing it's going to be a heavy lift and it's not going to be easy, it's only for a short amount of time, and it will have long lasting impact in your life, in the Christian and the minister that you will become, but also in the lives of the people that you will pour into in coming years. Now, it's important as you think about the workload, because it is a lot, that you plan your work and that you work your plan. And I know that's such a cliche, you've heard it before, but it's so true. You need to think about how you're going to do your work and then stick to your plan for the 7 weeks of your course. A few things that I would encourage you to do. Number one, start every Monday. The course week begins on a Monday. Start every Monday without delay. Okay, every day matters. So make sure that you start on Monday and you get to it. I would also encourage you to designate office hours. So treat your studies as a second job, a part-time job that you're doing for 2 years, and set when you're going to clock in and when you're going to clock out for your work. I would encourage you, if you have a family, that you not take away important family time from your family whenever you're doing this, that you find those times where maybe you have to stay up late after the kids go to bed, or maybe you have to get up earlier than usual to be able to get work done, to get your reading done, to work on your writing, etc. Now, you communicate with the people that you love that are around you, your friends and family, and let them know your head's going to be down for a couple of years. You're going to be really leaning into this thing. So you want them to have grace with you, but you also don't want to neglect the people in your life that you care about as you go through your course of study. So designate office hours and do your best to stick to those office hours. Your office hours, if at all possible, should include a day off. You need a Sabbath. You need to rest. Now, I'll also encourage you to work in the margins. So I've already mentioned staying up late or getting up early, but there are also all kinds of little spaces in the day where you can do a little bit of something. Okay. And you look for these marginal spaces and use them as best you can to work toward the goals of your course and to get your work done. I would encourage you, just as far as simple calendaring is concerned, to finish your viewing, reading, and listening assignments by your Thursday cohort meetings. The way that we've structured the week for GSM courses is that you would have done at least a portion of, if not all of your VRL by your cohort meeting on Thursday because you need to be able to talk about it. So this also is a really good touch point in the week. It gives you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before your cohort meeting to read your pages, to watch your lecture videos or any other assigned videos. If you have anything you've been assigned to listen to it. And if you can dedicate yourself Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to consume whatever content needs to be consumed, then that leaves your weekend to work on your writing, your other assignments, your writing assignments. I would also encourage you to work smarter, not harder. Again, another cliche, but a really good one. There's a reason that this resonates with people. So, for instance, when you're watching videos, and your instructor may have specific guidelines for how they want you to engage with videos, but my rule of thumb is, and I tell my undergraduate students, watch videos at whatever the highest speed is that you can still really truly get the content. Okay. So you can speed up your videos if you need to. Also, there may be places where you can listen to something instead of reading it on a page. There are lots of different ways that you can utilize your phone or other devices to read to you where you're not having to look at the page. And if there are certain texts that you can consume that way, then you can be listening to something read to you while you're doing chores or while you're on your commute or while you're exercising or whatever else. But think about ways that you can get your content taken care of and consumed that multiply your effectiveness and your efficiency. And then I already mentioned this earlier when I said finish your VRL by Thursday cohort meeting. I would encourage you to reserve weekends for assignments. So once you get past your cohort meeting on Thursday, then use Friday, Saturday to finish up your writing or whatever other assignments you have that have to be in before midnight on Sunday night. And again, if at all possible, try to carve out a Sabbath for yourself so that you can rest. You're a human being, and to be healthy, spiritually, mentally, physically, you need some rest in there. It's going to be a hard drive as you go through your course. And so you need to make sure to build in some space so that you don't burn out. We want to make it all the way to the end. Remember, as you're doing this work, to give all of the work for whatever GSM course you're in, give it the time it deserves. We've really pared down the curriculum of GSM to the stuff that we feel like is the most important for training someone for local ministry in the church. This is stuff that matters. Give it the time that it deserves. And ultimately, do what works best for you. You're an adult learner, you're an adult student, you're serving in ministry in some context, you're a responsible individual. You know what works best for you. And so if some of the ideas that I've given, the suggestions I've given for how to break out your workload don't work for you, then do what does work for you. What I've suggested today in this video are simply just that, suggestions. They're just a way to think about how to build out your work. But just think about your work, plan your work, and work your plan and do what works best for you.